So we just did it again. One of our students went from $0 to $900 a day in just 5 weeks. As we can see here, here's his post. And then here we can actually see, he was posting, got monetized, and instantly almost had a $900 day. And here I just want to show you guys the post again. I can reload this so I can just show you guys these are actually, results out of my community. Now, with that being said, in this video, I'm going to show you guys exactly how we did it, how we pick the niche, how we do all of these things so you can replicate exactly what he was doing. All right. Now, for the people who don't know who I am, I'm Stefan, 23 years old, currently make between $30,000 and $40,000 a month, and constantly building new channels, as we can see right there. Then I've, made $42,000 with just 2 videos. So one video made me $30,000 and one video made me $12,000, and many, many more videos. But I've scaled a channel from $0 to $48,000 in just 30 days. I'll explain to you guys in this video as well how exactly this happened. And then I've helped hundreds of other people just like Luke, just like you as well, normal people, scale their faceless YouTube channels. Just like as an example, Martin's here who have scaled up to $31,000 in one single month. Then here's a student absolutely crushing it. Here's a student doing $24,000 in one single month. Here's a student doing $12,000 in one single month, and many, many more. If you are interested in getting the exact results, as you can see on the screen right here, you can literally pause the video and read through all of that. Then check out the first link in the video description, book your completely free one-on-one call with me, and we'll have a look how we can actually get started working together. Now, with that being said, I would say let's get started into this video. Super valuable video. That's something I can promise you already now. Let's get started with step 1. So step 1 is the niche. Now the niche, this is something that most people literally just underrate, if I can say it like that. The niche is, no joke, the most important thing of your YouTube channel. All right. The niche is gonna determine if your channel is gonna fail or if your channel is gonna win. And we see that with channel after channel after channel after channel. All right. Now, there is a specific niche criteria we always look for when we are looking for a niche, and that is they are under 5 smaller channels creating content in this niche that are constantly getting more views than they have subscribers. This means there is high demand and low supply. Now, most people don't know this, but just as in the real world, we have supply and demand between the businesses, we have supply demand on YouTube as well. YouTube is basically just a marketplace of videos. And that is something that you guys need to understand when you are doing niche research. And as soon as you actually understand that, your life is going to be way easier than before when it comes to YouTube. All right. Then we're looking for a niche where there are no channels with over 100,000 subscribers. This is very simple because YouTube already has a bunch of trust to this exact channel. And YouTube knows that the viewers like this kind of content, and YouTube will kind of push their videos way over your videos because they know they will make money from those kind of videos. Okay. Then there are no smaller channels failing. Super important, because if there are a bunch of smaller channels failing, why exactly should your channel succeed? If there are a bunch of small channels failing, why should your channel succeed? Ask yourself that. All right. Then the niche is not older than 6 months. This is also super important simply because, if the niche is older than 6 months, in most cases, we have huge channels in those niches, and we also have a bunch of small channels failing. Okay. Then I can create better content than my competitors. Now, this does not specifically need to be better. It can also just be longer content. All right. If you create longer content, you will always have a competitive advantage over your competitors. All right. Which is always very good. And I'll explain more about this in a second. Then I'm actually interested in this niche. Not a must, as long as you build a team that actually has interest in that niche. Then is the niche monetizable? Super important. Otherwise, you are not going to make any money in that niche. And then obviously a huge bonus if you post long videos in that niche, because then you can place more ads and make more money. Very simple. All right. Then very important, this does not need to be 1,000% with every niche or all niches you find. It is very difficult to find the perfect niches, okay? You will find these niches once or twice a year. And, if you do, that's exactly where you hit these kind of numbers within 1 month, all right? That's where you hit these numbers in 1 month. Okay, but please don't try to be perfectionistic about all of this. Try to get it as good as just possible. But if there are 1 or 2 things you can tick that aren't the most important things, like for example, if you're not interested in the niche, if you can't post long videos, that's completely fine. You can still go into that niche. Then tools I would highly recommend for doing niche research are Next Level. It's like 13 euros a month. And then VidIQ, the free plan is more than enough. And I'll show you guys exactly how I use these two tools to do niche research in a second. I'll also link them in the video description with a discount code for Next Level. Now, let me show you guys how we're actually going to do niche research. So we're actually going to use a dummy account for doing niche research. A dummy account is basically an account that we only use for niche research, for, nothing else. We don't look at videos on that account privately. We just specifically use that account for doing niche research. Then the YouTube homepage YouTube homepage actually changed for our advantage. YouTube got extremely good at predicting what we want to watch. Okay. Now, and we can use that to our advantage to train the YouTube algorithm to only show us faceless niches on our YouTube home tab. And we can train them so well that they only show us small faceless YouTube channels on our homepage. Now, instead of, explaining how you can do this, let me actually show you how you can do this, because, once you have a dummy account set up, you can, no joke, find endless niches with it. And that's where niche research is actually going to start being fun. All right. Because I know most people are scared of niche research. They don't like niche research. But once you have a dummy account set up, like for example this one here, niche research is gonna start to become fun. As you can see, just faceless niches all over my YouTube homepage, which is super cool. And here, just as an example like this one, brand new channel, which is a faceless channel, brand new channel that YouTube just recommended to me. So once this account is set up correctly, YouTube is literally handing you niches. Now, what you're going to do is very simple. You're actually going to open up a, new YouTube account like I did, for example, this one. I'm just going to show you everything in an incognito window just to kind of replicate a brand new YouTube account. So what you're going to do is very simple. You're going to go here to search. So once everything is up and loaded, you're simply going to go to search and look up anything you are interested in. You can look up, for example, 10 fastest cars. No joke, this can be anything, as long as it is actually faceless. Now, what we can do is we can take our cursor and we can just scroll through here. Here we can now really see, hey, this is a faceless video. So let's actually click on that video. And then what we do is very simple. We subscribe to the channel, we like the video, and we go here to the search bar while this video is still playing, and we start looking for, other faceless videos about cars, just as an example. And this can, as I said, be anything. If you're interested in cars, you can follow me exactly like this. If you're interested in animals, you can do the exact same thing just for animals, right? So here, let's click on the next faceless video. So again, small channels getting quite decent views. And we want to continue this. So we're going to subscribe and like again. And we're just going to continue doing this until, like, let's say 30 minutes or something. Here we have something about bikes. Now, once you've done this for 30 minutes, you're going to go back to your YouTube homepage, as I do right here. And in most cases, what you will see is you will see a bunch of channels on your YouTube homepage about cars. Now, what you can also do to kind of make this even better is click on a bunch of videos on your homepage that are about cars as well. YouTube is going to show you more and more and more and more videos about that specific topic. All right. So this is a super, super underrated way of doing niche research. And yeah, so let me show you very quickly how you're going to use Next Level. Now, this is where you kind of speed up your niche research. So Next Level is 13 euros a month, but it's going to save you hours and hours and hours of doing niche research. So what you're firstly going to do is you're going to scroll completely down, as I do right here. With the Chrome extension installed, what you can already see, like, Next Level is actually showing us the subscribers, which is super cool, because now we can click on this channel here just as an example, because we can already see, hey, it has 4,000 subscribers and it's getting quite decent views, right? Which we can always see it. So instead of, clicking on every channel, not knowing how many subscribers it has, we can already see it very quickly right here. Now let's actually scroll down a little bit, and then what we can do with Next Level is we can filter our YouTube homepage, right? So we can filter it to here, for example, only 22,000 subscribers, and then, here to most viewed videos. And then we can see, okay, here we have a channel, 12,000 subscribers, 1.1 million views. Let's have a look what this channel is posting. So this channel is posting all about knots, which is very interesting, and it was doing very, very well. Let's have a look. So still 100,000 views every 7 days. Now, this is a channel I wouldn't go into. It's not perfect, like too many videos for 12,000 subscribers, and it's too old, right? But it was doing very, very well at the time. Okay, so then we can go back here and we can just scroll through these and click, for example, on this one, 600,000 views for only 11,000 subscribers. You can see 30 videos, 11,000 subscribers, doing very, very well. Now with Next Level, you can also click on analytics, and with that, you can then actually see like, hey, what is the RPM for that specific niche, and would it make sense for me to go into it? So for example, here we have a $6 RPM. That means that we can now think like, hey, like, would I want to be making $6,000 in a niche like that? Is that enough for me? If yes, then we continue into this niche. So now you guys know exactly how to choose a niche. Now let me show you guys a pretty cool trick, how to create new niches using the niche transfer method. Now, instead of blindly copying what everyone else is doing, we use the niche transfer method to literally 1000x our results on YouTube. Now, this is essentially taking proven concepts and moving them to different markets on YouTube. This can, no joke, be anything: the title, the thumbnail style, the video style, anything. All right, this can be anything that is working on YouTube. All right, now if we look at these examples here, just as an example, we can see here medieval times discovered. This channel has been around for a very, very long time. Now, what happened is very simple. This channel is posting videos about how medieval people lived. Then this channel came here doing the exact same kind of content just for cavemen. This one, exact same kind of content just for pirates. This one, exact same kind of content just for like homeless people. Now, if you need any help doing this, all right, if you need any help choosing your niche, all of these things, go ahead and book your call. First link in the video description will help you do all of that. And that's also the reason why, on average, our students get monetized within 3 to 6 weeks. Like, for example, Antonino got monetized in just 20 days, which is very, very quickly. Imagine the normal person, takes 1.5 years to get monetized on YouTube. Now, we get our students monetized within 3 to 6 weeks on average, okay? Because we do all of this with you guys. Then, step number 2, choosing the video topics. Now, something you need to know is that supply and demand is not just important in your niche, but also in the video topics you choose. Now, how do you find demand in video topics? You look for recent outlier videos on competitor channels. You look for recent trending formats, and very important, do not copy the most popular videos from competitors. This is what everyone does, and your channel will 100% fail. So don't go ahead to this channel and just go ahead and blindly copy this video. Because if I now go ahead and I take this title here and I paste it inside here, promise you there will be more videos on exactly this kind of topic. So here, learn, same kind of video, you see. So there are already a bunch of videos on this specific topic. Now, for sure, there is demand, like that video is getting a lot of views, but the thing is, how much supply is there already? So for that, you use your YouTube search bar, as I just did, and look for how many people have created the exact same video. If it's been done more than 3 times and you don't have a different angle to that specific video, you look for a different topic, all right? YouTube will always show the videos to the hardcore fans of that niche first. And if they have already seen that video multiple times, they don't have a single reason to click on your video. All right, except if it follows a completely different angle. So always kind of do this. And then, how does the perfect video topic actually look like? The perfect video topic resonates with your audience. So do they even want to watch that? Then some topics sound interesting on the surface, but are actually super boring. Make sure your topics are not boring. Your topic should or has to be posted on time, especially if it's a trend. Repeat what has done well in the past already. I'll tell you guys more on this a bit later. Then I want you to leverage negativity, because humans just respond better to negative things. It's always like that. If you look at all of these kind of news headlines, it's all negative things because humans just respond better to it, okay? Then step number 3, creating the content. So you have about 3 options for approaching content creation. You can either do it yourself, you can do the hybrid method, or you can fully outsource it. Now, if you do the hybrid method, what you do is essentially you go ahead and you do some of the work and freelancers do some of the work, okay? Now, if you do everything yourself, the advantages are very simple. You basically don't have any costs. You have 100% profit margin. You learn new skills and you have full control over the process. The disadvantages are it's not very scalable, extremely time consuming. Learning takes a bunch of time, and without you, there's no money, okay? If you don't create any videos, you're not making any money. Then the hybrid method, this is where you do some freelancers to some. The advantages of that is that it's super low cost. All right. You do what you enjoy and you have more control over the process. You still have a bunch of control. The disadvantages are it's only partially scalable. It's very time consuming. Some capital is required. And without you, there's still no income because still some kind of parts of the video are missing. Then, if you fully outsource it, most of our students start with this, then they move over to this. If you fully outsource, that's not very time consuming. It's extremely scalable. You still have over 80% profit margin. You have time freedom. You work with experienced freelancers, and without you, there's still an income. Now, the disadvantages are this requires some initial capital. All right. I say between $300 and $500, all right, a month, okay, to fully outsource. Now, what I do is I follow this exact process with every niche I get into to avoid spending a bunch of money on niches that will never work, okay? So what we always do is very simple. So firstly, we do niche research, okay? As you guys now know how to do niche research, then we need to choose an account. So either a new account, a personal account, a aged account, or even a pre-monetized account. A new account is a brand new account that you can go ahead and create right now. A personal account is a YouTube account you're looking, you may be watching this video from right now. It's just an account that you're actively using to watch YouTube. Or aged account, which is just a very old account from like 2006 to 2009. And then we have pre-monetized accounts, which are just YouTube accounts that are already in the YouTube partnership program, which I would highly not recommend for people just starting out. So which one of these three is actually the best account? So I would say this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3 at this current stage. All right. Now, once you have that ready, you want to choose 10 to 15 video topics. Now, you can't go and randomly choose random video topics you think are going to win. You need to actually choose video topics that make sense, that have demand, and that don't have too much supply. That's what you have to do. So choosing video topics is almost like doing niche research. You need to do some research when you're choosing video topics. Once you have that, you go ahead and you write your script with any kind of AI. Anything. It can be Claude, it can be ChatGPT, it can be Gemini, it can be, no joke, anything. Now, once you have your script, you go ahead and you do the voiceover with 11 Labs or even Gen AI Pro. Most of you guys know it already. I'll link all of that in the video description. For the video editor, you go ahead and you hire a freelancer. If you work one-on-one with me, you get freelancers from us. So check out the link in the video description. But a freelancer should not charge you more than $30 for a video. You want to do very basic videos, okay? You can also do the videos yourself as long as the videos actually get posted. That's the most important thing. The thumbnail, you can either hire a freelancer or you can do it yourself. I like to do, especially if channels, if I create new channels, I like to do the thumbnails myself. You can do that as well, especially if you know how to create thumbnails, okay? Then very important, you want your video to be 1.5 times longer than the average video in that niche. Very simple. Why do I say that, okay? I say that because YouTube will always push the video that keeps the viewer on YouTube for the longest period of time. Now, if your video is going to be longer than your competitive video, YouTube is obviously going to, make more money from your video because the viewer stays on your video for longer. That means, very simple, YouTube will push your video more. Then for the thumbnail and the title, this is extremely important that you actually don't change up and kind of try to think of something completely new, but you want to stick to what is already working in that niche, okay? That's what you want to stick to, okay? Don't change it up. Don't reinvent the wheel. Just do what is already working. Now, once you have all of that, you go into the posting phase. So you post, skip, post, skip, post, post, skip, post. Sounds very funny, but you want to be inconsistent in the beginning, which sounds weird. But, we want to show YouTube that we are not kind of an AI bot that's posting videos. One of two things is going to happen. Either the channel is going to blow up, like here, if it actually does, after posting the first 15 videos, we're not going to post more than that. Then we continue to post videos. If this does not happen, all right, and we don't get any views, we do not continue the channel. We don't post any more videos on that channel. Now, there are a few reasons for why a channel might fail. So it can be either the niche, can be the video topics, can be the packaging, the video length, or maybe it's just a bad channel. In case of it being a bad channel, you will actually see it by not getting any impressions. In that case, you actually go ahead and you delete all of these videos and you post them again on a different channel. And if it's still not doing anything, it's probably a bad niche or bad video topics, right? One of these two. Now, in case of the channel failing, repeat this process, do niche research again, repeat this process over and over and over again. And I promise you, if you do this over and over and over again and always test out new things, you will see success with YouTube. You will. 100% sure of that. Now, in case you don't want to go the trial and error route and, scale up like this student did here, $8,000 a month, or this one 18, or this one $5,000 a month, and many, many more, then check out the first link in the video description, book your call with me, we'll have a look how we can scale you up together. With that being said, I'll see you in the next video.